Flavour of Blue by Passcode is a rather stark reminder that this is a group who have a very strong sonic identity, and whether you're someone who likes them or not is going to be totally down to whether you like those particular things that make up their sound. Furthermore, it's a reminder of the fact that the addition of Emily, formerly of Lady Baby, is not going to completely and utterly change their identity. So the question then becomes, after Freely was such a fantastic, playful, energetic and creative launching pad for the new lineup, in my opinion one of the best songs the band has had probably ever, does Flavour of Blue just return us to the same old formula, for better or worse, depending on whether you already were a fan of it? Well, the answer to that is somewhat yes and somewhat no, but it's a little bit more complicated. So, hi there, welcome back to Japan. Let's go into a bit more detail. Well, probably first of all it would be wise to point out that it's not like Freely exactly reinvented the wheel, but it did feel like it really reinvigorated their sound, and you really felt Emily's presence was a big part of that. So in that sense at least, I guess you could say there is a bit of a been there, done that feeling to this song, but this isn't the first song where I've ever said, hey, if you're already a fan of the band, you're going to really like it, and if you already don't like the band, thanks for that, you're not going to like it. It's definitely one of those ones. It's a fan pleaser, I think. But there is enough about it which is different to keep it at least fresh for people who've been around for their previous singles. So considering this song is basically using the tried and true formula of Passcode, what are the areas in which it builds on that and, gives itself a little bit of a quality rise? Well, I would say a lot of it is in the nuance of the sound. Now, first things first, the Screamo stuff. You guys probably know if you've been following the channel for a while, I am not the biggest fan of Screamo, but I do think it can work. And Passcode are one of the groups who I would say I actually found made it work most of the time. Moreover though, Emily, both in her previous iterations in Lady Baby and also in the song Freely that had just come out, she seems to always be not just the most tolerable version of Screamo I've heard, but sometimes even enjoyable. And I think that's because of the fact that she focuses a lot on adding a sort of a rhythm to the performance, and also she doesn't feel like she's pushing her voice too hard. There's no sort of unnecessarily high-pitched screams that's going to break your eardrums, and she also doesn't go for those weird low growls that I often find atonal, lacking in rhythm, and just a bit unnatural. She seems to do it in a way that is about as musical as you can make it, and certainly conveys that energy and force that you'd want from screaming. Then of course there's the small matter of the production of the instrumentation, which in a very subtle way I felt made a big impact. Now this is something I'd noticed on Freely, but came across much more in this song, given that it sounded more like a traditional Passcode song. And that's the fact that we know that they've obviously always been a band who they do heavy music, but they lean on the digital side sounding thing. They go for those sort of digital effects, most notable on the vocals, but also a lot on the backing as well. Now what's interesting on both this and Freely is the fact that the instruments, the rock instruments to me felt more tangible, they felt more real, they felt less like they could also possibly be coming from a computer too, especially in the case of the drums. The guitars as well, but the drums felt much more fleshed out and real in these last two songs, in my opinion. It might be that maybe they're using a little bit less compression in the mix, it might just be the way they're mixing it is a little bit more rounded, but to me I really felt that the instrumentation kind of has that much more real feel in these two songs. Now, in this review, I have been talking a lot about production, and that's not to take anything away from the songwriting. As I mentioned briefly earlier, the songwriting should be commended for the fact that it manages to maintain that quality that is so quintessentially Passcode, in that the main quality is not so much a big chorus, it's just the fact that it is so good at keeping you on board and keeping it enjoyable while it goes through so many things. It keeps the surprises up, it keeps the level of enjoyment up. But again, I just want to say, if you've already heard Passcode before, you know that. You know how that formula works and you know why it works. Even from the video to this song, the sort of neon dancing in a room with lots of quick cuts, it felt a little bit like a sort of stereotypically normal Passcode video, but I still think that this song has enough freshness in it to make it work, to make it interesting, with some small adjustments to the production, just making the sound come across a little bit better, sounds a little bit fresher than. So if you're a fan of Passcode, I'm going to assume that you've already checked out this song. However, if not, then I absolutely recommend you do. If you've heard the band before and thought, maybe I'd like it, but it leans a little bit too much on the digital side of things, try them again now. You might actually find that you like them a lot more than you did previously, or maybe not, but it's worth a try. And if you don't really know anything about the band at all, and you just want to hear something that's got a really sort of crazy edge, mixes a lot of things, travels through a lot of different styles, and manages to at the same time stay coherent, they're back on form, and this is a group who you should definitely check out. So anyway, those are my thoughts, and As always, feel free to put yours in the comments below. It's all music, it's all opinions matter. But until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these, for now, ciao ciao.